Hello everybody and welcome back to another trip back in time. I'm in the Nottinghamshire coalfield again and we're going to be following a former busy railway route from Nottinghamshire into Derbyshire. This was the site of New Hucknall Colliery, opened in 1876 when the sinking began and closed in February 1982. You can see all the spoil heaps over there, and I'm currently walking on that spoil heap in search of this very railway line, which must have closed around about 1982 when this pit did, and it's going to head off towards Westhouses in Derbyshire. There's also two very old colliery sites that we're going to pass when we get on the railway line. The two Blackwell collieries, A and B, Winning A and Winning B as they were known. Both of them closed in the 1970s, I believe, but before that we'll pass where we used to cross over the Great Central Railway, or we may have gone under it. And that's where there's also a spur, a little curve joining the Great Central line onto this railway line that we're looking for today. It also had New Hucknall Colliery sidings that come out of the trees. Look, you can see all that view over there, all built up. Look, all used to be colliery land and coalfields all the way around here. I'll keep following this spoil heap down and I think we'll soon pick up the track bed. Eventually, as I say, we'll end up at the site where Westhouses shed was. There's all sorts of sidings there too, before meeting up with the Erewash Valley Midland main line and tip shelf sidings that you may remember from a previous video. So today we begin in Nottinghamshire. Sutton in Ashfield is a little way over in this direction, and we pick up at the former New Hucknall Colliery site. And we're going to continue off heading towards Derbyshire. We're going to pass where the Great Central line used to cross over, and New Hucknall Colliery sidings were also nearby. We'll continue on to Hillcote, where Winning B and Winning A collieries once stood, and we then continue on beyond the collieries to where Westhouses sheds were. The multiple rows of sidings containing coal wagons. There's plenty of old photos coming up to show you what that once looked like before the junctions leading on to today's Erewash Valley line, the Midland main line at Westhouses. It's quite curious that these spoil heaps at New Hucknall Colliery are, you don't usually see those signs, not the ones I've looked at. There is a gap in there, look. So I wonder what is in there. Maybe there's pumps for water, or maybe there's just sinkholes or something where the ground's settled. Don't know if anybody knows. Looks like the fence has been there for 2 or 3 decades though. So down from the spoil heaps now, all that land over there would have been New Hucknall Colliery. I've got to follow this path now to Common Lane, where I get to intercept the track bed for the first time. And right where I do at Common Lane is where the junction was for the spur off to join on to the Great Central main line, the Great Central Railway. And the spur was owned and operated, I believe, by the GCR, not the Midland Railway that we're following today. So still going to make a descent down here, look, as I try to find Common Lane. So off Common Lane now, that was once a crossing just there coming on to Brookside Way, and the railway line was just a little bit over there. So now I'm going to push on, get around here, and we'll finally see our Blackwell railway line. Just on the other side of this road is where the spur went off, the Great Central one, off to New Hucknall Colliery sidings on the Great Central Railway, which is just over there. We'll cross that point in a few moments. I'm going to look at maps when I get home later and see actually if any of this is accessible to come back and look at. There's the Blackwell trail. Let's enjoy it. track bed pretty much levelled off on my right hand side, but there's quite a steep embankment down on the left. So you may have just seen some drone footage that I've just done which showed that spur of the Great Central Railway. It looked like it got severed at some point, but there was a little section that looked like it may have been trodden down, or it could just be the outline of trees. Might come back and have another look another day. Now the date today is the 10th of September and we've just had a very, very warm or hot week, and it's probably the best week we've had all year, to be fair. But there are thunderstorms forecast this afternoon around about 3-4 o'clock. It's just gone 1. Hoping to get this done in about an hour and a half. Hopefully we'll be getting to the other end before I get hit by the rain, but it will be quite refreshing. It's spitting just a little bit now and that's quite nice, but it's still lovely and dry really. So this bit here roughly where you can see the pylon lines going over just there, that is, I believe, where the Great Central shot across just there. I think it went below. I'm sure it went down below because I'm on quite a high embankment on both sides now. Not that you can really see it. It was a bit higher further up. So yeah, so that spur would have joined on just down there, and that's where New Hucknall sidings would have been for New Hucknall Colliery, and that spur was on about just a little bit earlier. So the next point of interest this way is going to be one of the Blackwell Collieries. I'll mention it when we get to where that was and talk a little bit about it. Now the next point of interest along this route, now we've just passed where the Great Central Railway was Blackwell B Winning Colliery, closed in 1964. It was open for 90 years. That is just before the M1 motorway, and that is where we'll pass underneath and we'll see the site of where the Blackwell Winning A Colliery was. A couple of old chunks of concrete there, I don't know what relevance they had. Not seen anything railway relic-y at all on this route so far. We're doing a bit of an S, snaking an S route at the moment before we head up over there. You can see all the trees over there. The M1 is just the other side of that. Now just before Blackwell B Winning Colliery over there was also South Normanton Colliery over there, and there was another Great Central spur which came across and joined onto this line just before where the M1 motorway is. There was also a coal wharf about a quarter mile over there, which is where the East Midlands designer outlet is, and also some coke ovens on my right hand side. A little bit of a bridge just there, look, with a stream running underneath it. Looks like this bridge would have been replaced at some point. It's actually just raining now, as you might have seen, but it's really, really refreshing. Just hope it doesn't get heavy enough to prevent me putting the drone up. So there's a little bit of a junction just here. You'll see a bridge in the distance. We're going to look at that in a moment. Down there is that brook that we just crossed over at the previous bridge. Now there was a little spur off, a siding, a little branch going off to those coke ovens I mentioned previously that went up there. I'm not going to walk up it because it's pretty much more of what we've already seen. It only goes on for a few hundred meters. Now the little river pops out just there and goes underneath Barristow Lane, which is this. Got a nice double arch on the right hand side, look, for where the river goes under, and we've got a concrete which looks like it's a reinforced semi-replacement where the railway went under. Under and out the other side of Barristow Lane, I thought there was 2 arches. So there's the concrete reinforced bridge that the railway went under. There is actually 1, 2, 3, 4 arches through there. I don't know if you can really make them out. I can hear the water flowing too, so that is quite a big bridge. So would that have been at Arch as well? I've got to assume that it was. I'll see if I can find some photos of that. But pushing on, following the railway line, we're going to leave Hillcote behind, which is the little village just here. Blackwell B winning colliery, and head on towards where the M1 motorway is, and Blackwell A winning colliery. It looks like our little stream is gonna, or our river is gonna pass below us again, look. So there it is. Less spitting of rain evident as well. And there's the other side. And this here is where we cross under the M1 motorway. Not going to be showing you much of that because I can smell aerosol paint, putting the camera away because the graffiti in the walls up to bloody hell. Well, I'm high as a bloody kite now. I don't know if you can see it behind. That is the M1 bridge. Absolutely stunk to high heaven. That's the first time I've ever actually witnessed that. I know some of it can look good, but wow, it was the smell. Oh, stop raining now, so I'll be able to put the drone up again and show you a little bit better the lay of the land. Shards and pieces of ballast down there, look. That river's just down there. Not really much to see at the minute. Fordbridge Lane is coming up. There used to be a gasworks over there, and A winning colliery, Blackwell A winning colliery, was just the other side of Fordbridge Road. Don't know if there's any remains of a bridge. I'm assuming that it was named maybe after the river, maybe was a ford going through the road, so that could have been where the name Ford Bridge come from, because of the river going that way. Or maybe it's just named after the bridge, which maybe used to be down here. Who knows? There's a little bit of something. Looks like it was potentially some sort of small culvert for a drain, I'd say. And there could be one somewhere out the other side in that undergrowth, which goes down into the bushes, into the brook. So over there is where the gasworks was. There's still something on there. I can see some buildings in the distance. Fordbridge Lane is just here. There's also a car park here for anybody that wants to walk this in either direction. I think I'm just over halfway from the Sutton in Ashfield end. So this is Fordbridge Lane. Can't see any trace of where the river is below all this. I think it must be down there. I'm going to cross over and pick up the route. I'm going to say, because it's all on the same level, that it would have been a level crossing. Incidentally, as I crossed Fordbridge Road, I did see the bridge about 100 metres down from where the river would have gone underneath. So maybe that's where the ford was, if there ever was one. Up this way is where our other Blackwell colliery was. A colliery, winning colliery. There's a waterworks over there as well. There's a huge warehouse or industrial unit coming up, which must have been on the sides of the colliery. Now, when this colliery closed, the shafts were not filled in because they was used and required for water to be pumped out, so none of the pits further down the dip were inundated by floodwater, so it kept those well maintained, and it also gave a future life for the shafts, didn't it? I wonder if they're still not filled in. I would say that they could be up there because that is still owned by the coal authority. Yeah, there's definitely something happening in there, and I don't think it's for storage. There's some brick buildings up there as well. I think it is spitting with rain. I'm going to try and pop the drone up and circle it around so we can have a look. Nice little sculpture just there, isn't it? The Blackwell Parish Council, a place for reflection, a memorial to those that have lost their lives to the COVID-19 pandemic. So our track bed is going to descend. That is where all the Blackwell or Westhouses sidings once were. A huge array of tracks all in a row, similar to those at Tipshelf, which is actually only just over there. You remember that video if you've already seen it. I'll put a link down below for that, because that's definitely worth a look if you've not seen that one. And further down on the left hand side there was the sheds of Westhouses. They were just beyond all the sidings that was laid just here. And to gain access to the Erewash Valley line, the line split into two. Blackwell Branch Junction and Blackwell South Junction was just down there. Don't know if there's any trace of either of those two spurs going off, but the one for the Branch Junction is where it then connected with Tipshelf sidings. Now the stream or the river we've been following is still down there. I believe a lot of this area, it was re-landscaped and not really diverted, but slightly rerouted with the contours of what the land was like once the collieries had finished production. Just down there I can see a mass of land which is all flattened. Let's see if I can poke you through, and that would have still been former railway land just over there, and where the sheds of Westhouses once were, with rows and rows of locomotives stabled, idling, awaiting the next duties, or even under maintenance before it joined on to the main line around about a quarter of a mile up here. I'll just stop you if you can see that. Get my reflection out. Thundery showers are imminent. Look. Huh. So I want to get it done before that appears. So this here was Blackwell East Junction with the sheds just over there. We've passed all the sidings over there. And it used to split into two, going up to the Branch Junction of Blackwell up there, and also to the South Junction. Now, it doesn't look like the official path goes up here to follow this cord to the Branch Junction, but it's worthy of a mention because that is where it used to join onto the line. There used to be a station just there as well before tip shelf sidings. As I say, tip shelf sidings video is very much worth a look if you like your old railway relics and artifacts. There's a link right at the very end of this video for you to click on. So it does go on quite a gradient. Whether this is due to landfill of some sort, I'm unsure, but we can make our way up here and we'll probably see where the actual main active line is. Great, so we're leaving East Junction behind, followed that little curve up towards the branch junction, Blackwell branch junction, and this is where our track bed does in fact come to an end, down at Blackwell South Junction, where it joined onto the Erewash Valley railway line. It's a little curve just here, and it would have been higher than this at one time. I believe the track bed was higher because the Erewash Valley line is a little way elevated where those trees are in front. And again, the engine sheds were over there. They were built in 1893 and they closed to steam locomotives in 1966, but diesel locomotives were continuing to be serviced until around about 1986 or 1987. That's roughly when all the sidings closed and transferred up to tip shelf, which only lasted around about a year longer anyway. Now by this point the track bed would have joined onto the Erewash Valley line, and this is a path which is now down for us to walk along towards the actual Alfreton railway station. I can see a culvert down there. Shall we have a quick look just before I finish off? Let's go and have a look. Oh yeah, it's the tiniest one, isn't it? Not be getting in there. There we go, culvert 67B. That's not one I'm going to be crawling in anytime soon. Random piece of rail just there, look. Well, what do you know? And there's the other one. Just there. And this little bit of rail we've found, that intrigues me because when I looked at maps, which I'm showing you the Rail Map Online version now, you can see Westhouses up here and the junctions onto the Erewash Valley line. There's no trace of any track coming off this line. Now at first when I was on site on location that day, I thought, oh, maybe it's the spur off which goes off towards Westhouses sheds, but no, because I'm all the way down here. If we jump onto a map from the early 1900s, again you can see the junction and the Westhouses sheds are up the top. Look, Alfreton station and Alfreton is heading off down towards the bottom, but there are no rails branching off the main line off to the right. So I wonder what this was. I think I might need to go back and take a look at this in better detail in the near future. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you do enjoy these railway videos. I'll be back very soon with some more from around this area, Chesterfield, Derbyshire and further afield as well. Any suggestions, please do comment below, and again, watch that tip shelf sidings video. It's an absolute cracker, all the stuff that is still there to be found. Thank you very much. I'll see you very soon. Bye bye.